All right, good evening, everybody. We'll be jumping into Old World pretty quickly. I just need a second here to make sure that everything is up and running on the broadcast side, which it is. Hope you're all doing well, and happy Independence Day to my American friends or viewers. I'll try and introduce a little bit of what I plan to get through in terms of Old World today, because it's kind of funny. Well, there's a few things that I sort of think about in terms of Old World, and some of them are related to how I'm spending my time in between broadcasts, and also just kind of acknowledging the amount of time that I have to play games that that I would like on stream. My intention is definitely to continue having Old World on the Mondays, but one of the things is that, so I think when I had started Old World, back when it was getting its Steam release and Heroes of the Aegean had come out, I sort of felt that I had a better grip on the game than I did. And that's kind of understandable because definitely Old World I've played in sort of blocks and also in different stages of development. And so, in addition to just sort of not keeping on top of stuff, the game changes. And I would actually say I can't really think of a lot of cases where the game has not changed for anything but the better. So I don't want that to be read as a complaint. But it definitely, the more I do the scenarios, the more I play the games, the more I'm sort of realizing it's like, oh, okay, hang on, that wasn't the right thing to do. And especially the last couple of weeks, that's involved me reloading the scenario a couple of times. And I'm not even necessarily bothered by that, because that's ultimately how I wind up learning the game. However, I think it's also true that I would probably be reloading a lot more often and a lot earlier. In fact, so I know that this particular Babylon playthrough, we started a new playthrough right away. Where I think we left, so I'm a little fuzzy on where we left last week, but I can actually think that some of the challenges I'm running into with Assyria and their relative military strength, it's actually one of these cases where I would say it's like, okay, well, I've got enough lessons that I've learned and things that I would like to change that I would consider playing a new game. And I actually don't think that's a failing on certain games. For me, that's a wonderful opportunity to just sort of learn a few lessons, not have to sort of take on board a ton of new information, instead sort of bring in some things piecemeal. But I think it actually is a really big problem for broadcasting, because the one thing I don't want to give the impression of is that Old World is so difficult that you need to constantly reset. I mean, it's fair to say I'm playing probably at a higher difficulty level than I really should, and that's one of the ways that I stop myself from developing too many bad habits. And again, I am allowing myself the reload. I mean, it's an option you have, right? If it's multiplayer, I'm sure your colleagues are going to be a little upset with you resetting after you get negative outcomes. But otherwise, I'm pretty sure the AI is okay with me not taking losses well. So I wanted to sort of bracket this, particularly right up off the front, because of course it's fair to say that the last few videos have been ones where if you want a straight line of progress in terms of a broadcast, I've definitely been failing at that, and it's not entirely clear to me that that's necessarily going to change for this one. But I'm also going to allow myself just a bit of a warning in terms of my preference. So I guess the best warning I could give would be that my preference would be to see the Nebuchadnezzar playthrough to the end, because I think there's some value in finishing. Like it's not just a real life thing, right? It's starting projects is considerably easier than finishing them. And I think that's true for strategy games as well. It's nice to try and deliver things to the end, particularly if things aren't working in your favor. But I mean, there's a certain point, like, if you have this miserable experience of just sort of watching your empire be dismembered over like 50 turns, with no hope of recovery, maybe that's not the most fun. But on the other hand, I kind of feel like you need to have a very good idea about the game to know when a situation is hopeless, because I think, I keep referring back to Civ stuff, and I keep referring back to particularly Sid Meier's memoir, but like I can remember some references to things like when they originally wanted to have natural disasters, which would make sense if you remember that, from as far as I recall, Civilization was inspired by SimCity. SimCity has disasters, but it would kind of be perceived as the game, poking the player in the eye and like stopping them from winning. It's like, oh, the game's cheating, the game wants to win. I'm absolutely guilty of that. So, in the previous playthrough, last broadcast, there's an event that popped up that destroyed my unit. In fact, 2 events popped up that destroyed my units. One of them had an option to sort of buy a unit in compensation, which I thought was not bad. So overall, it's a negative event, but you are able to at least transpose the loss into a different kind of loss. There's another one which was seemingly just pure badness. And part of this is just me not necessarily paying attention to or realizing the consequences of having certain characters with certain traits as generals. And sometimes you need to burn your hand on the stove to know not to put your hand there. But certainly it's something I'm going to be keeping a closer eye on. But with all of that in mind, my intention is this. I want to try and make as much progress as I can on the it's not Nebuchadnezzar anymore, on the Babylon playthrough. If I feel that the stream is kind of grinding to a halt, or that the amount of learning that I'm doing is sort of starting to taper off, I am going to allow myself to do a different run. And that's actually kind of consistent with how I would play, which is that it's like, okay, so there's a set of lessons that I'm going to need to learn from this, but it's not necessarily the set of lessons that apply in this current, in this scenario, right? Sometimes you'll find yourself in situations that have come about from the previous 10 turns of actions rather than just the last turn. And sometimes there isn't a lot of value in trying to really wrench your way around. In fact, arguably it may be unhelpful because it gives you it's like when you play on too low of a difficulty, it gives you the impression that you can get away with stuff that maybe you shouldn't be, maybe you should be trying to avoid in the first place. But my intentions are this. So we'll run through with Babylonia, and I'm definitely going to outline a few of the things that either I've learned or things that I would do differently having done that run. We're going to do as much Babylonia as we can. And again, if I hit that point where I'm sort of like, you know what, I want to do this better. In particular, I actually just want to show Old World for the game that I really like. I think I might actually go back to the Carthage... Well, not back, but I might go to the Carthage campaign. We'll definitely go back to Heroes of the Aegean, particularly because we did Imperium's Greek Wars on Friday. But I think it would actually be kind of nice to do Carthage, because I don't know if it's intended as a tutorial, but it certainly is one where it's a little more guided. It's actually how the game... It's the first scenario the game shipped with. And I've not completed it. In fact, I think I've only done the first scenario out of it. So that might be a nice change of pace. I actually quite like the scenarios. And it's funny because normally in Civ I never play the scenarios. So just another wonderful little example of where I think Old World has kind of gone above and beyond its predecessor. But I also suppose I should say with that in mind that I have been given a key for the game. This particular copy I'm playing on Steam was given to me by Hooded Horse for promotional purposes, particularly to sort of show off Heroes of the Aegean a couple of days before. And I've definitely been a long-time fan of Old World, although I don't want that to imply that I've been playing it as long, because certainly my gameplay is going to raise some questions. Like I said, I kind of nibble at it, over periods of time. And again, this is definitely going to continue. This is kind of enshrined on Mondays, unless people absolutely say, this I do not enjoy this game. I would rather you play anything else. And shame on you. But no, I mean, that's good feedback to hear. But so far as I can tell, people do like it. I particularly like being able to bring up the history in the events. But I may try and change some of the scenarios that I go into, or some of the sessions that I'm doing. I do want to go back to sort of a base game experience, but the biggest thing is I'd actually like to spend some time with the game myself, and I've just had way too much to do to be able to like sit down and do a proper old world session for myself. So with that in mind, we were on turn 77. I mean, it's also fair to say we're almost halfway through the game. It does end at 200 years or 200 turns. So, and a lot of the lack of progress is actually a function of me sort of stopping and resetting. So I think that's a very conscious choice on Mohawk's part to sort of make sure that you're not, again, when I'm talking about that like long, terrible decline, I think actually the limited time frame is specifically designed to prevent that. Anyway, let's talk a little bit about where we are. So the Assyrian... Oh, yes, that's right. We actually lost a bunch of useful units. So I think I'm going right off the bat to... Oh, do I go back to the start of the last stream? Maybe it's for the best. I just know that we lost the elephants. We lost the we got kind of surrounded. The Carthaginians are attacking us, so that's maybe a little more than I'm willing to put up with. So yes, apologies for those of you who watched last week and wanted the extra progress on that. I think I am not in a mood to deal with those mistakes that I made. So, if I recall correctly, we had sort of played around a little bit to see... So I think we wanted to see if we could get an early fight against Rome. That didn't really turn out. So our decision was ultimately to make a move on the Assyrians. Now, as it turns out, they are currently at war with Carthage, and they're almost certainly going to take the city. One reason they're going to take the city is they have a ridiculous number of archers up there. So one of the things I wanted to talk about a little bit was the military situation, where I may be falling apart, in that sense, and what I might have done differently, and what I would maybe do differently in the future. But I also wanted to talk a little bit about my city. So one problem right now is that with the number of archers that Assyria has, so let's say I want to go march my already smaller army. So actually right now it says we're a similar power, so that's kind of interesting. But let's say I want to march my army after the Assyrians. Well, then they just move their horde of archers around, and they, shoot them to pieces. And then Assyria's special ability is that I believe it gets an extra order each time it kills a unit. So that just gives them some silly momentum as far as taking out my units are concerned. So it's like, okay, well, how do we handle that? Well, one consideration is that right now, if I go after the archers here, I've got this big, wide open plain that I need to fight them in. It's like, okay, well, we have an answer for that, and that's cavalry. Alternatively, if I can fight them in the forests here, which is what we tried to do last time, then we get a 50% reduction to the damage that we take. Now, this is a little bit of an illusion in terms of how much benefit it provides, because if I'm going to be moving aggressively on them, I essentially have to assume that all the archers are going to dutifully line up in a circle, and that's not going to happen. So even... their numbers are such that they're still able to take out a unit with sort of concentrated fire. So one thing I may want to consider would be taking steps to get me some extra cavalry units. If nothing else, I want to just try and make sure that my units are reasonably well protected as we move, and then maybe see if I can, find some other ways of handling the situation. But basically, one of the first sins is that my army is not really in a proper state to fight the Assyrians here. At least the Assyrians as they've sort of mustered around Lixus. Essentially, I should be bringing more cavalry than anything. Excuse me. Now, on the note of my cities, so one thing that's happened, and I said that this is a problem for me, and I was going to try and work around it, and then I didn't, is that generally in 4X style games, I really do tend to undervalue the military side of things. And for the most part, this has actually worked all right for us. So if you take a look, right, we're at 20 of 60, and at the previous, in the previous save where we left off the stream last time, we're actually well on our way to, to potentially get that halfway victory. So basically, once you cross, 60 points is the limit here. But basically, once you cross the halfway point for total points, and if you have twice as many points as the next highest, you win. So if we could rush 32 points, or well, basically 12 more points, while Greece and Carthage stayed still, if anything, Carthage is going to go down a little bit with the loss of Lixus. But that would actually mean a victory for us, and so that could mean that we want a strategy where we, focus a lot on wonders and just general activities that'll be improving my the overall state of my cities. The other thing is that we just hang on with our fingernails until turn 200, but that's realistically not going to happen. But the other thing what I want to try and say here is that, like, it's not, like, you don't have to become a warmonger to succeed. That's not what I'm trying to imply here. But it is fair to say that I did sort of say that generally in these games I tend to undervalue military. And that has definitely been borne out in this particular run. And I'm paying the price for that. So one way in which I've neglected my military is the fact that I could not tell you which of these cities, if any, has a barracks in it. I do have a couple of more... here's one barracks. And I guess we've got the garrison here as well. But yeah, in any case, like, I've had a little bit of a strange way of building certain buildings. And admittedly, some of this is guided by the game, but it's dumb to just blame the game on everything, right? So, all that said, where I'm trying to go with this is to say, one thing I should have done much earlier was not just build things like barracks, but like actually really put some thought into the different forms of construction. So in traditional 4X games, I'm thinking of Civilization particularly, but also, the Amplitude, the Endless games. There's generally one resource that you have, which is production. And it's actually kind of funny because when I started playing 4X style games, I would always rush as much science as I possibly could. And then, eventually I'd get kind of like beaten up a bit doing that. And I'm like, okay, well, I can't fully rush science. Like, I do want to still prioritize science. It's usually worked pretty well for me, but there's a couple of really obvious ways that that's fallen apart. So it's like, okay, how do I build from that? And then the next step would be, it's like, oh, okay, I know what I'm going to do now. And then I would turn around and I would, how do I put it? Like, I would take, a more production-oriented focus and then sort of direct some of the surplus from production towards science. And, like, why would I do that? Well, because, like, production sort of it's almost like a universal kind of resource, right? The higher production, well, then there's like a science like event that you can put production into, and it converts production to a certain amount of science. But more importantly, you use that production to build a library, which gives you even more science. And then because it didn't take you so many turns to build that library, you can also build a barracks faster. And there's a number of reasons why that kind of a strategy winds up working. But in the case of Old World, they have a really clever way of handling it, and you can actually kind of notice the weird priorities in my city. So Babylon grows very rapidly. It gets 24 growth a turn. Compare that to the training, which is 14.1 a turn, and specialists, which are even lower, of 12.7. Now, this is particularly surprising because this is actually one of the cities where you would expect there to be things like quarries. But the key here is that basically each type of improvement that you want to make in Old World basically they have kind of this logical alignment between the infrastructure you've built and the types of projects you can pursue. So, historically there is an interesting kind of alignment between military research and sort of civilian applications. So, research in the Cold War eventually leads to the internet, or microwaves, or, even actually my favorite example actually is to pull the film industry, because one thing that was true for the film industry is that you have, the Great Wars. Well, I guess there's the Great War, but you've got two major wars, and you have, many able-bodied workers going off to fight, and they're coming back with a bunch of sort of skills. The reason I highlight this is that for the film industry, a number of them were in the camera department, and in fact, some of the tech that would go into things like turrets or like guns and bombers, eventually found its way into the camera department. That essentially they took those really good ideas and they put them towards their industries. So, and I mean, there's other stories that you can get. Israel's sort of their Silicon Valley, their sort of very high quality venture capital industry, their high quality tech companies definitely reflect the fact a lot of those have their origins in the military services. So again, there's a number of real world reasons as to why it's actually not completely incredible to say that there's sort of this crossbreeding between sort of production in terms of basically the one production unit, and there being this like guns and butter decision that winds up getting made. But actually, if anything, the direction goes the other way around, right? Is that you have military research leading to civilian applications after the fact. Not really something for us to go into too deeply here, because of course we are dealing with the very old world. But the way that Old World handles it is that basically if you want more workers, if you want more people to work the land, you need growth. If you want military units, you actually need to have some kind of like effort in your city towards that kind of training. So the idea here is that your settlement that has never once had, like, it's a settlement of people who've never once been on a battlefield, and there's no training grounds, there's no gladiator rings, there's no archery ranges. They're simply not going to be producing the same type of units or same type of contribution to your nation's military might as one that has, extensive training and, and veterans to draw from. One way that you might kind of model it would be, you could sort of say that both of these cities, in theory, could produce the same unit of combat, for lack of a better term, but one city is going to produce it much faster than the other one. Basically, if you just try and like normalize everything for the context of a game, that's one way you can think about it. Now, I mean, again, there might be something kind of silly of saying that, there'd be an elite combat unit that if you just gave a city 100 years to, to put it together, it would be able to achieve it. There's probably some real world limits on that model, but hopefully the point's been made. But this is the kind of the sin for my development. It's ultimately, I've put very little investment inside of this training. So even though I want to be focused on building units, it actually takes me a very long time to build those units. And so it would make sense that I actually put a little bit more investment inside of training. But what is maybe most surprising would be that in my capital city, I have my smallest value is not in fact in training, but it's in civics, which is something that you'll use to build a bunch of specialists and all of that. So it's all well and good that I have a high growth. It's actually taking me a very, very long time to be able to get more specialists brought in. How are you doing, Olaf? It's very good to see you. I'm sorry you were not feeling well when last I encountered you. I hope you're feeling better. But yeah, so in this case here, a lack of investment in civics is basically kind of cramped Babylon's potential development. Now, I say that in very general terms. Obviously, it's a strong culture. It's it's probably one of my most powerful cities. But you just kind of scratch a little bit under the surface, and you can actually see some big problems sitting here. So with all of that in mind, it's like, what do we do about this? Well, to a certain extent, we have the buildings as we've already built them. Doing all right, just a case of not over-pushing yourself at the moment. I hear that. I still didn't sleep very well. I've just been trying not to talk at the start of the stream all the time about how badly I'm sleeping because nobody cares. But yeah, please take care, Olaf. But yeah, so again, to a certain extent, I just sort of need to face, I kind of need to face reality in terms of what what I've sort of set up for myself and some of the consequences. But there are some lessons for me to take away from this. So one of the things, and again, this is a particularly weird one just because I did actually go for an artisan family in the capital. But you can take a look at some of these regions where, we have just tons of quarries. In fact, this one's kind of funny because actually, I guess I don't get a bonus for quarries from... Right, sorry, it's mines and lumber mills. So actually that makes a lot more sense that I didn't build quarries here. But you can see that I've taken this very specialized approach to certain cities. Well, if we take a look at Anat, it's actually not that much higher, but in this case we've got 14 civics being developed, and that's because I've got stonecutters. And so one of the things that I will do in future playthroughs, and I'll maybe try and direct myself towards if I can, is I would like to make sure that in my cities I at least have a few districts with desirable outputs. So, I don't think it would hurt to have sort of like a little... I don't know if I could quite do a triangle of barracks, but because there's some other bonuses that sort of line up with it. But even if it's not, like even in some place like Babylon, have 3 tiles where I'm working a quarry. Why 3 tiles? Well, it's just because that's where you get all your bonuses from, and the idea here is that allows me to build stonecutters, which in turn give me the productive capacity to sort of make other improvements to the city. And then again, you do the same for training and growth. Although growth, I don't seem to have struggled as much with, just simply because the farms are useful. Generally, I have enough food and so on. So again, that's just an example of something where it's not something I can sort of turn on a dime for, but it is something that I'll maybe want to think about in future playthroughs, or in one thing I'll try and keep in mind in terms of future developments. So let's go. We'll cross over the turn. We've definitely done this follow-up turn more than a few times, but Oh yeah, there was another thing that I'd learned. I've been trying every once in a while to take a peek at the manual. Oligarch Inishu of Babylon has died. Oligarch Shuma of Ashuna is now head of the Chaldean family, and Lutapri has converted to Judaism. So actually, maybe not a bad example of something that I've neglected. Religion, and that's just because I have so many other things that are taking up my time. Let's build a camp. Let's also deal with barbarians. I don't want to give up the civics for the... I would like the training, but it's a little... Okay, so I'm pagan. I'd kind of like to convert to Judaism. But how is the rest of the court feel about this? It's got to do like the Romans. You got to have a timely conversion. Okay, 2 of the 3 families... Okay, so I think now may not be a bad time for me to do that. General Nebuchadnezzar the Younger has been helping you to learn about Judaism, giving you an understanding of what is expected as a follower of the religion. You are studying together and discussing the theological tenets when you are struck by a sudden revelation and everything seems connected and whole to you, the matter of life clear and easy to grasp. Nebuchadnezzar seems shaken and taken aback by your sudden reverence and fervor. He asks you to explain your revelation. So he is not ready, and we could devote time to studying alone. Explain that you believe it comes from a unique connection with God, or discuss your new ideas together. Okay, so I could become pious for charisma and courage. Or I could get 2 wisdom, go even higher on down the science path. Now, it does create a problem because this general would become unhappy with me, and they're already not, like, we're not on the best terms. So there's definitely going to be some costs for this. Actually, the general is going to be unhappy with me in both cases. Yeah, I believe it comes from a unique connection with God. Yeah, so some consequences there, not ideal. Apparently I've got another mission that I can... Yeah, no, we're fine. So eventually I'll try and do a little bit more in as far as conversion is concerned. But I kind of need to... Well, okay, we're actually... We could be worse off. I think I just killed all my civics doing that, though. Yeah, we'll go for it. Oof, Babylonian paganism is not happy with me, so maybe we should try and stomp that out. Yeah, I might have been premature in terms of that conversion, but I did want to do it. Now, if I want to make progress on the religion, I am going to have to. I'm going to have to be putting some effort in, like to building specific units. But again, it's just a question in terms of what else do I, what else am I going to do with the time? One other thing that I wanted to focus on was discontent. So it does seem that this is just a base amount that's coming from the difficulty of the game. I'd like to make sure, let's maybe start with production in Uruk. Did we build a worker yet? I don't think we did. Okay, so I'm going to take a second here and just make sure that... Okay, so upset religion. I don't know if there's a way that we can convert the religion, but... The problem with the discontent is that it raises the cost of things. And the idea of building 11 theaters is actually a bit of a tall order, but... Okay. Let's start by seeing if I can... So I think we were going to try building the pyramids at some point. But I think at this point... I do need a strategy as far as getting my my food back up, but okay. Oh wow, I don't have any other workers to work with. All right. So this is in prep for moving on the Assyrians when I can. The Gauls have converted to Zoroastrianism. Their opinion of you has gone from upset to angry. Etu of Anat has died. Kashatalish has converted to Babylonian paganism, and Prince Hammurabi is now old enough to be tutored by courtiers. So if I want, I could redraw. I believe we were looking for another... I believe we were looking for another law, though, which would give me... citizenship would give me that. The game recommends it. The citizenship tech can greatly enhance your civics output through the construction of the courthouse and through the legal code law. Alternatively, the divine rule law can help a religious nation by allowing the adoption of your pagan religion as the state religion. I'm still gonna do that, even though the pagan religion feature is maybe not as important to me. This worker, it's pretty clear I'm going to build a grove. That's a luxury resource that we can give to the Amorites. Unexpected personal connections have opened up a direct channel to the leaders of Greece or Carthage. The court seeks to improve relations with both nations, but we should proceed with caution. Shall we move forward with Greece or Carthage? So, similar and competent, stronger and competent. So that gives a slight argument for... Ooh, the Greeks are really angry with me. Let's try and improve relations with... Yeah, we'll still improve. Time passes quickly. Prince Hammurabi is growing up fast and eager to learn. How would you like to educate him? He will study philosophy. And I don't think... Yeah, so the fact that I'm trying to persuade someone is going to prevent me from being able to... Again, just making sure I can get my workers dealt with first. Oh, definitely doesn't hurt to have a scout seeing what's going on too. So I'm just putting them right up in there because it costs the same number of orders. Any move. So basically, if I had tried to save an order, then I would have been left out in the open. Whereas if I move them here, it costs the same amount of orders, but it gives me more of a view. So they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 archer units. And I'm assuming that they're just going to wipe out everything in Lixus right away. Now, again, in looking at something like this, this would tell me that cavalry is probably the best bet because of the open plains. But what we would effectively want to do is we'd want to make sure that we had kind of a cavalry charge that would be wiping out these units. Anything short of a kill means that they're either going to run into the Caucasus or they're going to turn around and shoot our units apart. Okay, let's choose production in Murad. So I am tempted to just try and work on the chariot right away. Alternatively, I can go for the Axeman, but... or the Archer. Or I do the Jewish disciple and we start building religious improvements, which would actually also wind up helping with the the discontent. Oh, so many choices. Okay. I think in this case I'm going to spend the money for the chariot. Okay, Borsippa, that was a slinger that we just built. Now, I would prefer to be doing something else, but in this particular case, farmer so that we can get our food up. Actually, in this case, maybe the archer might be the better call because of the sentinel. I mean, sentinel is going to be for being in our own territory, so it's not as critical. Yeah, we'll do farmer. Okay, so next up, I want to try and move my units as far as I can before finishing the turn. So these two have already moved. Should probably just save at this point so I don't have to redo. Like, it's hard to see decisions that are being made here that are necessarily going to hurt the effort in the north. But it will save me the effort of spending, half an hour to... Oh. My God. You are now known as Belisunu the Architect. The influence mission of Queen Belisunu the Architect has led to an event. Governor Amel Marduk the Younger, the governor of Murad, has died in office. Abelnu of Ishuna has converted to Babylonian paganism, and Duchess Sakiti is old enough to be tutored by courtiers. You corner Patriarch Ulamburish of Anat in a hallway of the palace late at night. He has proven a tough man to track down. Beads of sweat dot his face as you pressure him into a personal alliance. Your attempt at persuasion is going badly. Perhaps you should take a different tack and rely on your terrifying presence to bend Ulamburish to your will. So, he must fear me. This is not the way, or this conversation is yet salvageable. Yeah, actually I like this. It's one of my special abilities. An oath of support. Oligarch Ramtu, the schemer of the Kassites, approaches you with a proposition. Queen Belisunu, the Architect, we have a unique chance to help each other. I understand that more troops may be needed for the war, but in return, I want an oath that you will help the Kassites should we ever ask for aid. The Kassites are offering some impressive spearmen and some of their finest chariots. Is it worth making a promise with unknown consequences, though? Yes, I will I will hold it because we need the troops. Time passes quickly. Duchess Sakiti is growing up fast and eager to learn. How would you like to educate Sakiti? Where is Sakiti in the line of succession? Okay, number 2. So I'm slightly inclined to politics here. The High Synod, or Synod, Ambassador Nebopolisar believes that we can reach a religious concord with the Jews through gathering their religious leaders at a High Synod. Shall we approve this plan to reach out to the Jews? I would like to improve relations with the Jews through a High Synod mission. And choose a new governor. I think Abi Ratash is probably the best option. Okay, so another consideration as far as my military approach is I've been using my workers a whole lot. And obviously, if I want to have sort of this outsized effect in terms of military, I should be dedicating all of my orders to getting actions done. So I should be really doing 27 orders worth of moves each turn, which, I mean, it'd take us a couple of turns to make it happen here. But I think we might have a chance at actually being able to like run in and really inconvenience the enemy. Now, all that said, I still actually want, in this case, I still want to put some effort towards getting my building done. But what I might do moving forward, once we are actually engaging the Assyrians, I may actually consider holding back and trying to just trying to focus, at the very least, until we can wipe out some of these units, focusing on hitting them as hard as I can with as many orders. Okay, let's get a tutoring mission in first. Does that cost me anything? Just orders. Okay, let's get some conversions happening here. So I think the first thing I'd like to try and do is convert Oligarch Shuma of the Chaldeans. That way I've at least... Oop. It's actually something that my leader needs to do, not my patriarch. Okay. I probably have less for him to do then. Oh, actually, in this case, it seems to be suggesting that it's the civics that's stopping that from happening. Oh, I think I get it. The cost is different if... Okay, yeah. No, it just took me a minute to figure it out. All right. So, I am more inclined towards building the war elephant, but that has a pretty significant cost. Still doing it. Anat. So I could try and get some more money. At the cost of some stone. I could also say we really need as many soldiers as we can get, and let's train. I think in this case I'm actually going to spend the money on the treasury. Okay. So, we were doing this last time. I wanted to slowly start moving this worker towards Opus. Okay. Now, because Murad is currently building the chariot, what I would like to do here, so it's recommending that I build a hamlet, and this isn't necessarily a bad choice because there are some adjacency bonuses that come from the theaters. But my main interest right now would actually be in some more military buildings. So I'm going to try building something next to this building. So I suppose this would be the barrack. Well, I guess neither of them are really directly related to cavalry. But 20% adjacency bonuses for the garrisons. Okay, that's where it comes from. Okay, fair enough. And if I get 900 stone, I can build the Apadana. I am very tempted to build this, but clearly we would need the civics, so that's just gonna sit for now. I'm slightly worried about doing this, but I will build a barracks. Okay, we still want this unit building lumber mills, because again, this is a bonus for Babylon, and we are going to need a lot of wood for the archer strategy. Okay, you. This is owned by Borsippa, which is a Kassite, which in theory would have been a more military-oriented settlement. So if I do that, I could build a garrison. I could talk about trying to get some civics done. No, I think we're actually going to start with a garrison. That was one of the ones we got through the bribe. Okay, I think it's only military units that we're moving now. So I'm going to follow my usual pattern of moving up the units that... oh, I can get an upgrade in, actually. Too expensive. Yeah, I'm basically going to move the ones that are the furthest back up. And then when we're really committed, like we're going to try and rush the Assyrians where we can, but they're probably going to be fighting from a strengthened position. Although, you know, if things turn out with the Carthaginians, we may be able to they may be offering some backup. Rome declares war on Carthage. King consort Sin Mubalat, my husband has fallen ill. Show respect. Seeking to improve relations with Camilla, the Queen of Rome, arrives to address the court. During introductions, she insists that members of our court kneel to kiss her feet, as is customary in Rome. The heads of our noble houses passionately object to this request. As a grumble of discontent passes through the crowd, Camilla looks to you for a decision. So they must respect her as they respect me. All families will dislike me for that, but Rome will like me. Our people should not be forced to obey your customs. That will increase my legitimacy, but I will become estranged with Rome. Or, In this court, all bow to me, Queen Belisunu the architect. I don't know when I became terrifying, but that's actually kind of awesome. Now that Opus thrives, its elders wish to do more for the poor. A proposal for welfare provisions in Opus reaches the court, and debate begins. Imposing a grant of money for the hungry would reduce the state's funds, but it would set a powerful precedent. We would be seen as a protector of the people. So we can establish a grain dole to reduce unhappiness, or we could use the money to influence key nobility, which would reduce my legitimacy. So, or we could buy food to distribute, but in this case, we're going to go for the grain dole. The young master. Withdrawing from much of the school's daily lectures, Duchess Sakiti focuses intensely on her study of politics, ethics, and debate. She's even developed a small following of loyal devotees who record her teachings. After several months of focused study, Sakiti compiles the first true policy manifest. So we could encourage her to spread these teachings to the people. So this would improve culture in the city of Babylon. So that would be that would bring us closer to a legendary culture. Or request that the court incorporate her lessons. Now this would give me a much needed boost of civics. So I think I'm going to take this. But it does make me feel slightly bad that I did. Okay, I'm a little surprised they're telling me to build pyramids here, but I'm going to take it. Because it does give me victory points. Okay, so this is where I should maybe start thinking about building those quarries if I'm going to build them, although the hamlet is also tempting. I think I'm going to start with a few... Oh, this is such a stupid place to build a quarry. What am I doing? I've got a trapper here, so... This is a little bit better, but I do need to cut the scrub as well. Oh well, life's full of disappointments. Okay, I think probably better to heal the archer. It's tempting to throw a scout in here just to... Yeah, it gives me a slightly better view on what's going on. I'm a little reluctant to do that just because it does cost orders, which I have there are in short supply. But I don't know. I still need to get stuff done in the kingdom, right? So, or sorry, I still need to prepare for the war while getting stuff done in the kingdom. So. Excuse me. I'm going to make a guess there's a scout sitting right here. In fact, I'm going to try and do a little bit better in terms of doing intermediate saves in case I wind up making ridiculous decisions. Excuse me. But yeah, so I guess at this point we're back to the old trick of... I was still short on the iron. Okay. Oh, that's fine. We can still move some of the laggards. But yeah, so you can kind of start seeing some progress being made. If the Assyrians do decide to come after me, this might be a little bit of trouble, but we are close to our borders still, so we're going to be able to sort of turn around and clobber the... like, heal up and turn around and clobber them This is a slightly better position to be fighting the Assyrians in because they're all scattered, but they're probably going to start concentrating on me after this somewhat aggressive move. Excuse me. Matriarch Haydna the Younger is now the head of Zoroastrianism. King consort Sin Mubalit, your husband, is thankfully feeling much better now and is no longer ill. Naditu the Younger has died, and Duchess Kashaya is now old enough to be tutored by courtiers. In an act of solidarity, citizens of Murad are volunteering in droves. They wish to show their local pride. So this is the Strong Culture event. We could gain a worker, or they should take up arms. Definitely taking up arms. A new game has become popular in Nippur. It's a 2-player game called The Game of 20 Squares. This game is played on a board where 2 large rectangular areas are joined by a narrow bridge. Both players have 7 pieces gradually placed on the board and throw a 4-sided die to determine the allowed moves. Players race to remove their own pieces by getting them to the other end of the board while trying to capture opposing pieces to impede their opponent's progress. What should we do with this undeniably fun invention? So we could encourage it to be a pastime in Nippur, bonus culture, and a drop in discontent, or it is a game fit for the aristocracy, which would improve relations with the families. We're pretty good with the families right now, so we'll encourage it to be a pastime in Nippur. You may be interested to learn that, for better or worse, Duchess Kashaya is showing signs of taking after her father, King Consort Sin Mubalit. How this influence will take shape is yet to be seen. Here's looking at you, kid. Duchess Kashaya becomes wanton. Time passes quickly, and Duchess Kashaya is growing up fast and eager to learn. How would you like to educate Kashaya? Neither of these are particularly good, but let's study commerce. Just for someone who's wanted. Sorry, they're good. They're good on their own. Just kind of acknowledging the person that I'm connecting with. Okay, so I'm curious why it's recommending a barracks here. Because surely it would be better for the adjacency bonus to build one in this spot. Although it may be even better to build a farm. Yeah, you know what? Farm's a little more important right now. So again, we're just going to work through the workers first, where we can. Okay. So this is going to require quite a bit of investment on our part. I probably should have saved before I did this, to be honest. Your chariot has just killed an enemy unit, but because it has the rout ability, it can keep attacking. Units that can rout will move into an enemy's tile upon destroying them, allowing them to attack again this turn as long as there is another enemy unit adjacent to their new location. Generally, only mounted melee units, like horsemen and chariots, can perform a rout. If well placed, this can permit units like your chariot to chain together multiple kills in a single turn. Alright, that's a little bit more than I was bargaining for here. I thought there were 2 rather than 3. So I think this chariot might die, but let's see how it turns out. Oh, I did not realize I needed... I should have paid attention. Tolerable candidates. All of them are going to increase discontent, unfortunately. Actually, the money guy might be a good choice. I'll be honest with you, I'm not 100% sure what happens if you have a food deficit. I know we've ran into that a couple of times, but now that we've locked in some troops, I may want to hold off on using the workers. Good God. I mean, like, so that was a crit. I don't know if there's a lot that I can prepare for that, but that's appalling. The High Synod mission of Ambassador Nabopolassar has led to an event. Queen Belasunu, the architect, has tutored Prince Hammurabi, improving his courage. Ambassador Nabopolassar has paid a visit to the Venerable High Synod of Judaism, offering our services and favor. The Jewish Council is pleased that we have come to them, for indeed they are in need of assistance. Some of the faithful poor are living on the streets, and the Jewish elders expect us to support the struggling believers in exchange for their blessings. With a generous donation of wood, they should be able to house the homeless. Shall we make such a donation to the Jewish poor? Unfortunately, it's a little too expensive for us because it's, oof, but then we become cruel. All right, well, $350, huh? Good Lord. That hurt. So this unit's going to be stunned. I have a feeling we're actually going to run into the same problem we had last time, where the AI kind of turns around and it wipes out a really valuable unit. But I do want to get a little more progress on the fight. As far as military units go, we've got axe and spear. We've got a couple of spare slingers kicking around, but this is more or less my army in place, which sort of good, sort of not so good. Right, I should also, so I don't normally like spending points like this, but I do want to make sure that I don't ignore tutorials. Okay, let's see the consequences of my bad decisions. So that maybe wasn't so surprising because we do know that's a unit that's capable of those stuns, but it's still inconvenient. Reports of a tribal raid from a Gallic encampment near Uruk. King consort Sin Mubalit, your husband, has fallen ill. Melee Mage, thank you very much for the host. How you doing? It pains me to take the free Byrene, but I'm doing it. Okay. Now I did say I was going to focus on my military when I was sort of in the fight. So I'm trying to see if there's a clever way that I can make a move on these guys, but I don't think there is. Okay. So this hurts. I would much prefer to be able to move away, to be honest. Guess that gives them something to think about. Time for a truce. A group of riders approaches our front lines, led by an envoy from King Rimut-Adad the Able of Assyria. In respectful terms, he extends an offer for truce. Assyria is willing to end the fighting. No! This is the first time I've got the upper hand. Now, that might actually be wiser for me to try, to actually end the fight. I'm not going to capture the foreign capital, but controlling 10 cities is still a good goal. So, it's a bit later than I thought. You need to go. Oh yeah, no problem, Melee. Thank you very much for stopping by. And for those of you who don't know, who don't know Melee Mage is a talented artist in addition to a really nice broadcaster. Actually, I should say talented broadcaster as well. We hosted him a little while ago for Final Fantasy 15, I think is the MMO. Somebody I had the great pleasure of meeting in Vancouver at Brian on the Rocks bar, EXP. He bought me way too many drinks. Again, I'm not kidding when I say a very nice and generous person. But on top of the fact that he's just a heck of a guy, is somebody who does the Twitch thing quite well. By which I mean he's got a number of different talents which work very well in a streaming format. So please do check him out. And Melee Mage, I don't know if you're still around, but I hope you know you're appreciated, and I really do appreciate that. I really do appreciate that host. I hope you have a good evening. All right, you accompany a courtly expedition to the academy where Duchess Zakiti is studying politics. While strolling the grounds, you notice many young men glancing at Zakiti, their faces flushed. It seems she has gained a reputation as a speaker of passion and emotion, and she has wooed many of her classmates. So we could advise her to focus on her studies, not the opposite sex. Now, she is wanton, I believe. She becomes educated. Congratulate her on her skills, +2 charisma, and becomes romantic, or I do not feel comfortable commenting on such matters. In which case I gain the discipline. Now, Zakiti is second in line. It wouldn't hurt for me to actually balance out a little bit of the discipline, but let's congratulate her on her skills. During a royal feast, you share an enchanting conversation with one of your minor courtiers. The wine flows freely as the two of you talk late into the night. The revelry comes to a close, but your companion lingers on as the rest of the guests depart. So let's see where the night takes us, or a ruler needs her rest. Tempting, but they're not a major figure, so ruler needs her rest. Nobles in the court insist that we clarify our stance on economic systems. Do we support the policies of colonies abroad, or do we explore serfdom here at home? So in this case, I do know serfdom is going to cause some problems as far as discontent, but the extra orders will be particularly helpful, so our people should work their own land. Okay. Anat, what do I want to put the effort into? Forum? Maybe. Does help me with civics. Why can't I build a gardener? Because I don't have the food. Uruk. I'm most tempted by walls right now. Unless we can get some more culture. Borsippa. I think a miner's the right call here for the extra money. Yeah, and that's it. Again, I kind of committed to focusing on the fighting, so let's see what the consequences are. So the funny thing is I'm kind of hoping that the Assyrians still take Lixus. So I'm definitely going to want to move back with the chariot. Greece is now in a tribal alliance with the Gauls. Duke Ati Rabash the Educated, your uncle, still feels fear, as does any sane man, but he never lets it stop him. He's gained 1 courage. And King Consort Sin Mubalit, your husband, is no longer ill. He's fully recovered. And Kara Hardash of Babylon has converted to Babylonian paganism. Again, these free things are going to kill me. Bernabarish is your chancellor, so we could get his wisdom, charisma, or discipline. I actually think the cash is probably the most helpful right now. So again, we're more or less putting production on hold, so we're going to run the chariot back for healing. It's actually kind of tempting to do that for the... kind of tempting to do this for the rest of my people as well. I can at least make it costly for them to mess with me like this. Oh. Oh, you know what? The elephants are probably not going to have route, though. I think I'll still risk it. It's funny what a few orders can do, huh? I'm going to run these guys back so that I can upgrade them to archers. So again, I'm a little bit worried about the elephants here. So again, I'd love to have some workers doing stuff right now, but we are in the middle of a war, so I want to make sure I'm focusing on what matters. Okay, Opus. Let's build up the treasury. And again, we'll see what the consequences are. Yeah, they are focusing the up. Oh, maybe they're not. Queen Belisunu, the architect, has tutored Prince Hammurabi, improving his wisdom. And Humusi, the younger, has died. That's probably my general that was it. Decree, good to see you. Thank you for the Twitter activity. What a bloodless way of saying that. Thank you very much for your continued attention on Twitter. I hope you're doing well. Happy 4th of July. So I'm actually kind of inclined to just let these guys get clobbered by the... Oh, Jesus. I made that a lot more complicated than it needed to be. So these spear units are going to become a problem at some point. The question is, how quickly do I want to deal with them? Ooh. You know what? We can do slightly better than that. So again, I'm trying to preserve the forces that I have. It's better for me to move the scout here because there's there's fewer surprises waiting for me in this part of the map now. Essentially, we're going to be, right now I want to be fighting for Lixus, but you know, I want to take out the Assyrians first. The rest of this, I think, yeah, not a whole lot else for us to do. Okay, I gotta pay up for some more actions, so we will tutor my son. And what kind of production do we want? So we're still short on food. If I can improve that, I want to. Wood would also be nice because if I can get 100 wood a turn, that basically means I can build a super unit per turn. But no, we will build a farmer. So far it's only been one unit that we've lost. I suspect there will be more to follow, but we're doing considerably better against the Assyrians than before. Okay, they're definitely going to kill that. That's a particular shame because they, like, I don't have that many melee units. Holy crap, that's a lot more than I was expecting. You are now known as Belisunu the Able, and the Great Ziggurat has been completed by Rome. A new court minister, Amata, has joined the court. Her aptitude in matters of state will keep Babylonia moving forward. Welcome. The game is recommending monotheism. Oh, sorry, monasticism. Monasticism encourages making good use of your nation's religion, as the monotheism law increases your orders for each city that converts to your state religion, while polytheism allows the building of unlimited pagan shrines. The monastery can be built by a disciple of a world religion to provide an income of science. The alternative would be stirrups, which would be pretty good for my need for cavalry. I actually think I'm going to go for the game's recommendation of monasticism, though, because I would like to eventually go down the... I would eventually like to go down the path of... I would like to start making some more religious buildings. Let's put a Mata in place. We really don't have a lot of governors that... Free... yeah. There's a lot of trade-offs on my governors right now. Oh. Definitely happy to have some extra money. Okay. So we lost an axeman. Don't have a lot of options in terms of where I can move and deal with the enemy right now. So let's kill... I'm crossing a river. That sucks. It actually sucks enough that I'm willing to give up a bonus. Okay. I am not willing to do what the AI does, and, well, in this case I will, but generally I don't want to rush my people in to be, like, right beside them. This is probably gonna kill my guy. Man, I'm really short on units. I think it's still a good idea for me to heal everyone up. An exception might be the elephant. But the thing is, as soon as I make the elephant an exception, that's the turn I lose it, so... Given that I speak of the elephant that way, I probably should be putting a little bit more into protecting it, but that's... As I'm fond of saying, that's a tomorrow me problem. Okay. So I may wind up losing a really good unit off of this, but I just killed all of their melee ability doing that, and I'm hoping they're going to be tied up enough with the barbarians. So yeah, they count as a weaker power now, which is good for us. We're still not going to be able to capture the foreign capital, but I can live with it. A sudden arrival of envoys from Rome causes disorder in the court. Their ruler Camilla demands that we take up arms against Carthage. This is not a decision to be considered lightly. What shall we do? We will wait a while and see how things play out. How you doing, Algrins? Belisunu is the governor, is you and the governor of Babylon. So we could boost our wisdom for more science. Charisma will help me with my civics, or discipline will finally get rid of my penalty. I think in this, so normally I like going crazy on wisdom, but in this case we will get rid of the penalty to our cash. Pay to play. You are surprised to find that Ambassador Nabopolassar has been spending a lot of time with Duchess Kashaya, running errands and even doing work for the child. Upon further investigation, you find that the clever young Kashaya has been making use of her commercial knowledge from her recent studies, and access to the royal coffers, of course, to exploit Nabopolassar's greedy nature. Kashaya has been bribing Nabopolassar into being her servant. It is impressive strategic thinking. Is it impressive strategic thinking, or simply abuse of power? Skills like these will serve you well, and she becomes corrupt. Or you can't rely on money to grant you power, which will cost in the form of charisma, but will make her righteous. Yes, we will get rid of her wanton nature. I believe it's minus 80 opinion, not angry for 80 years. Now that Prince Hammurabi has completed his study of philosophy, how shall he contribute to the court? Now, again, this will be unless something happens to him, he will inherit the kingdom. So a judge, a wise advocate of the people, or a builder, an industrial planner, and taskmaster. Now, if I recall correctly, judges can upgrade. Yes, they can upgrade improvements. So traditionally, I've installed the ruler in the capital. And in this case, I actually think this is good. So I will make him a judge specifically with a mind to upgrading some of the existing buildings in the capital. Now, again, all of my workers are currently idle. That is just... I'm just going to have to learn to live with that right now. I am slightly curious whether or not I can get away with a forced march to... Oh, I can. Ha ha ha! You're dead. So remember, we're going to have 2 cavalry units at full strength. Oh, we've all got an elephant too. Cool. I've got such a grudge against the Assyrians, it's not even funny. Okay, so clearly we can't empty the farmland for the war elephant. We can, however, start thinking about some of the upgrades that we can do here. So I was going to do a stonecutter to try and boost our civics. Farmer may be better. Oh, actually, well, it gets me a little food extra, but not like a ton. I, in reality, would like to build an officer. Okay, let's start with a stonecutter. So we built a worker in Larsa, which is obviously not going to be used for a while. I have a weak preference for something like an archive or a forum at this point. Let's actually start. Let's start building some archives in the Empire. And I should have done this earlier, but let's... So now that we're actually making some progress against Assyria, I want to start being a little bit better at marking certain saves. So I'm fine letting the Assyrians try and capture Lixus, because it's... Oh! It's those surprises I hate seeing. It looks like they're giving up capturing. Good lord. How many archers do these people have? News arrives from Rome that Queen Camilla the Ready of Rome is dead. A new ruler, Queen Attia the New of Rome, has taken the throne. Their opinion of you is angry. Duke Abi-Ratash the Educated has recently proven his good sense and insight. He has gained 1 wisdom, and Prince Hammurabi, your son, has grown more confident and charming. He's gained +1 charisma. News reaches you from abroad that your fellow ruler, Queen Camilla the Ready of Rome, is dead, crushed by a runaway chariot. Queen Attia the New of Rome has ascended to rule Rome. She has been empowered to lead the mighty Rome and invested with the traditional retinue of 12 lictor bodyguards. They clear the way as Attia takes her seat as the new leader. A new power rises. So far, every time I've seen you attack someone in this game, it's been like a clown car pulls up and spits out units at you. I agree. It's one of the things I've struggled with, actually. But I have a couple ideas of how to handle this. So, workers in Ashuna have discovered a rich vein of ore at a local mine, which would increase production in the local area. However, expanding the operation will require a significant investment. How shall we respond? I absolutely want to promote this, so it's going to involve some hard sacrifices, but we're going to sell the stone. Now that Duchess Zakiti has completed her study of politics, how shall she contribute to the court? What rule best suits her? So, judge as well, or a scholar. I will also make her a judge. Wouldn't hurt to have a scholar, but Zakiti's not going to be the ruler, so... It's alright, I'm going to do something that might wind up being very stupid. Actually, yeah, this is already not going to work. So clearly here we want to heal this unit up. Nope, not what I want to do. I think you can see where this is going. Unfortunately, I'm also pretty sure this means this chariot is dead. Some of you may die, but that is a sacrifice I'm willing to make. So I was thinking that the archers were a little better clustered than they actually were, so I was going to be able to just send in the chariot and take out more than just two. But honestly, still taking out 2 units is not bad. I think this general... Jesus, yeah. So this tactician can stun a unit, so almost certainly dead. Again, I'd love to build a chariot here, but it's not really viable right now. Let's start with a farmer. The farming needs are getting a little ridiculous at this point. And in fact, I'm running out of troops enough that I need to... so this one I think I'm actually going to force march into a heal. All right, let's see what the consequences are. Yeah, so they've pretty much just straight up given up on taking Lixus. Yeah, it's two units minimum that we've lost. 3 because that unit's stunned and is not going to be able to do anything. So part of the question is, like, do we want to try pushing this? Because obviously Assyria is really weakened right now, and this is the chance for us to start taking some territory. Queen Belisuna the Able has tutored Prince Hammurabi, improving his discipline. Chancellor Burna Buriash Anat, our chancellor, has died in office, and oligarch Nebuchadnezzar the Younger is now head of the Amorite family. Their opinion of me has gone from pleased to cautious. Let's pick a new chancellor. Prince Hammurabi. It's tempting, but I think Prince Hammurabi is going to become the ruler. Well, is that so bad that... Give him some experience. Oh god, he's like everything now. Oh no, it's the same portrait, that's why. Okay. I think I'm going to try and be reckless and push the fight. Now, I'm going to try something ridiculously reckless here, but this will be awesome if it works. Okay. You're kidding me. Okay. It's important this happen in a very specific order. Oh, we're just one short. Darn it. Worth it. Oh, I don't have the... Okay. Yeah, I don't know if this is going to save the units that I didn't want to lose, but it does at least make me feel better that I'm putting some hurt on their valuable units. This is sadly as close as I can get with my scout until we actually have some troops in the area. I'm not really going to be able to make that much happen. Okay, I really got to deal with this food problem here, but I mean the challenge is that every time I want to build one, like I'm out of I need food to build people who will make food. So I could go for a stonecutter. That'll get me the civics. Alternatively, we just start... I think I'll start investing in archives when we're not sure. Now, a stonecutter is kind of tempting here because it takes a long time to do stuff. So, okay. I will permit you a mine. Again, I've been reluctant to build any... Well, anything, really, because the focus should be on military at this point. So I'm a little worried about the chariot, but... I should be very worried about the chariot. So that is actually a pretty big loss for us. The chariot was how I was able to sort of take out multiple units all at once. You have failed legacy, capture a foreign capital. Okay, that's fine. We knew that was going to happen. Now that Duchess Kashaya has completed her study of commerce, how shall she contribute to the court? She can become a commander, which I'll admit I'm a little surprised. Yes, we'll make her a commander. Your archers are already skilled, but Ublanu of Ishuna has an offer to push their abilities even further. A talented pathfinder, Ublanu has offered to show a select unit the hidden routes and tracks that cover Babylonia, training them in the art of the hunt so that they may chase down any that dare enter our territory. Go forth, my hunters, or no such titles will distract from their training. Yeah, let's go forth, my hunters. It is time for you to choose your next ambition, what shall be the future director of Babylonia. Control 2 Sumerian archers, very tempting, although probably difficult to do in time. Control 4 harbors, almost certainly not going to happen. And discover scholarship and vaulting. That is potentially something that could happen. I mean, it's in... Ugh, yeah, actually not having portcullis is a real drag. It's not impossible, but it's a big investment on my tech tree. So in contrast, though, how likely do I think it is for me to get a Sumerian archer, given that it requires a citadel? You know what? Let's go for the research one. Discover scholarship and vaulting. That is true. So, like, the thing is that, like, with the loss of that chariot, like, we are actually in a considerably weaker position than we were. Like, it really is that fine-grained in terms of, like, going from being in an awesome spot to being like, oh god, we're gonna die. I'm gonna try something here. I don't think it's gonna work. Yeah, the zone of control screws it. All right. This is such a dangerous place to put this unit. So I'm making a pretty hard commitment here by moving that unit in such a risky spot. Oof. I dislike how much I'm using Forced March here, and I'm hoping that Rome does not get too cranky with me, but So the problem right now is that I've spent a lot of my troops to get where I am right here, but like I would guess at least one of these is going to die. And it's maybe not so clear what the exit strategy is. Like, we still need to take Katna. Why can't I upgrade this unit? Ah, the orders. Okay. Well, that's fine. We kind of need everyone. I am going to keep a unit around here just because it did say that there was a raid from the Gauls on its way. Okay. I think I should put walls everywhere I can. And if there's no more military units for me to build, then I actually will start thinking about... Because, like, 17 orders, that's a lot to be... Like, to just have my unit sitting idle like that, so... We finally crossed over into Opus, so here we'll build a mine. I think a stronghold makes a lot of sense here. Unfortunately, this is just going to give me culture. Still think it makes sense to try and boost my... Oh, actually the stronghold... Well, the stronghold's tempting, but I am going to build the lumber mill. Okay, now you don't want... Oh, right, because it's just because of orders. So yes, this is good because the stronghold is something that I'll be able to turn into... Wait a minute. Oh, right, because of the... Yeah, I needed the extra order for the clearing the trees. That's fine. Okay, let's see what nightmare happens to us up in the Assyrian border. I'm a little surprised the Axeman didn't die there. Okay, King Consort Sin Mubalat the Builder, your husband is converted to Judaism. General Agam the Zealot has converted to Babylonian paganism. Oligarch Ramtu the Schemer has died. Prince Hammurabi, your son, is now head of the Kassite family. Their opinion has gone from pleased to friendly. Always ready to fight, Prince Hammurabi is warlike. Nice. And Duchess Kashaya has reflected on her recent experiences and absorbed many important lessons. She has gained 1 wisdom. Greek matchmakers have arrived, hoping to arrange a royal marriage for Duke Leonatus of Ambracia. Who shall wed Leonatus? So, Duchess Akiti shall make a fine wife, or Duchess Kashaya will make a fine wife. Or I will not choose right now, and then they'll get mad at me. Okay, so there've been a few references to this. Just to be clear, the bonus wisdom I'm talking about is for myself. The start of this video talked about a bunch of different things that I was trying to learn in this game and just try and overcome some of my challenges. So this is about me. I'm not looking for like plus wisdom events particularly. Oh man, actually Greece has really caught up with us. I've not been paying attention up here. Okay. So Kashaya is lower in the succession. Yeah, we'll send her off. Okay. So yeah, amazingly, this axeman did not perish. So lucky me. Now I want to be a little careful in terms of how I handle my elephants here, because if I drive this unit out of the woods, like that's generally good. But it does come at the cost where any melee units aren't going to be able to do more damage to it. News of the battle reaches Babylon before the week is out. Reports say that it was a clash of minds unlike anything seen before, each general wielding their knowledge of tactical matters in a duel of minds. The fight was decided with a final ploy in which Gemeti faked the retreat of her troops whilst keeping them organized enough to reform at a moment's notice. As the enemy rushed forwards, the Babylonian units pulled back together and decimated the enemy forces. I'm pretty sure this is a reference to Kane, but okay, so we can praise the individual or praise the force. We'll praise Gemeti's genius. Gemeti is a general of the war elephant and a court scholar, so swift or horsebane. It's tempting. Honestly, all of them are kind of tempting here. And let's actually get the defense for the war elephant. That's not a bad call. Yeah, so in this case, it actually pulled them out of the woods completely. So what I'm trying to do here is dislodge a bunch of the units from the woods so that my own units can start laying down the law. So darn close. Oops. No, it's quite different actually. So it's, well, I mean, okay, so kind of, but it's a defensive bonus. So they provide protection against archers. If you're on open plains, then there's a bonus for cavalry. But yeah, it's mostly the fact that I'm attacking with so many archers, or used to be attacking with so many archers. Again, I don't exactly have a large army to sort of enforce my will anymore. But yeah, basically the idea here was I would... Actually, you know what? No, it's not close enough. Okay, so clearly we're going to need to... So this is going to cost us a lot of money, and it's going to suck, but we need to start building some replacements. So the question is, who builds the archers and who builds the war elephants and such? You know what? Let's start with what we can afford. Okay, so I guess now it's a question of what do I want to build? So I think I said I was going to do another quarry here. This unit was going to build the stronghold. That'll be good for the archers. No, now we're out of orders. Okay. So we're starting to get a little bit more of an equilibrium in terms of how we're spending our turns. I'm a little mad that we saved Lixus, but my hope here is that we'll add Katna to our possessions before too long. Also, I should send the lavender off to my people. That's not too much of a surprise, but we might actually be able to turn that to our advantage. You are now known as Belisunu the Keystone. I don't believe I've had that. Rome is converted to Christianity. Their opinion of you has gone from angry to furious. Now, this is really, really dangerous for me. I'll show you why. Okay, so we definitely want portcullis or scholarship. So in this case, I'll take advantage of the redraw. So there's scholarship and portcullis. So, I mean, it's really one or the other. Let's go for portcullis just because it takes less time. I want to build these wonders as soon as possible, but I'll take a break for now. Okay, this is a granary, so this will definitely help me with my food problems. The pyramids. It is done. The pyramids of Nippur tower above the surrounding lands, the polished stone gleaming in the sun. A labor force of 100,000 workers have cut and raised over 2 million blocks of stone to create the monolithic structures, with intricate tombs and passages hidden beneath the unyielding stone surface. This is a burial site truly worthy of the Queen of Babylonia, one that will stand as a testament to our people for all time and be a symbol of the glory and power of our dynasty. With this wonder, my legacy will endure. The Keystone. The buildings of your cities are visible for miles around, wondrous constructions that tourists travel the world to see. The legend of the buildings of Babylonia has also led to a new name for you, Belisunu the Keystone. A meeting with your leading architects raises a question of what statues you want displayed on the latest monuments. There's always been more to achieve. Will you announce a new ambition to those assembled? So, I will only accept the very best to work in my my lands, so we can try to control 5 elder specialists. We'll definitely need to get our food under control. I want to explore military applications of such engineering, portcullis and chain drive. Okay, I hate that I'm doing this, but I am absolutely going to try to tech ambitions. A new marriage proposal for your daughter, Princess Sakiti, has arrived from the Amorite and Chaldean families. We should consider how this will affect the court. So, Katalish the Scholar will give us 15 knowledge and higher Amorite opinion. Or we can get Kunder Enil of Opus, high courage, iron, and higher opinion of the Chaldeans. So the Amorites are actually a bit unhappy with us right now. So as much as I would like, a hero general is a big deal. But in this case, I do actually want... Okay, there's something I can do to make the Amorites like me, but I still am going to... I'm still going to play politics. As our treasuries fill with the finest luxuries, the Amorite family has come to demand a cut of the wealth. They desire more of our collected lavender, or they will make our job of governing difficult. Well, in this case, I'm actually happy to give it to them, because it's not going to cost me to do so. Okay, so we're starting to repair relations with the Amorites. Now, ooh. Okay. Should probably idiot-proof this turn. I just kind of want to bully these archers while I can. Even if it means that I'm not able to... Even if it means that I'm not able to do that much on the city this turn. I actually think it's not a bad idea that I kind of try and push my advantage. Idiot proof. They'll just build a better idiot. Be careful. Listen, every night I every night I don't get a proper sleep is just another night I'm gonna savage my ability to learn and play Old World. Okay, back to Anat. My treasury's getting a little healthier. I think I'm still going to try and invest in food production, though. Okay, so Uruk's got its walls up now. I'm still going to build a forum. It's important to remember here, so one of the reasons why I want to be building forums, or fora, I suppose, is that I'm going pretty aggressively on some science goals right now. And so I do have some strong... I do actually have some strong science, but like it's not enough for me to be guaranteed that I'm going to realize all of this in time. Like my ruler's 44, like there's probably a few more years to go, but still, I want to make sure that I'm on top of my ambitions. Mind you, if this turns out, like we are on our way to 7 ambitions completed. And then of course Rome's going to run in and just destroy us, but... Well, I guess we knew that was gonna come. Jesus! I was not expecting to see the archer die. It looks pretty aggressive Greek move. Patriarch Ulumburish of Anat has died. Patriarch Lutpri of Anat is now head of Judaism, self-assured and assertive. Duke Abi Ratash the Educated, your uncle, exudes an aura of confidence. He's gained charisma. Itani of Borsippa has converted to Babylonian paganism. Duchess Akidi has converted to Babylonian paganism. And the Kassite family has converted to Babylonian paganism, which sucks. I actually put some effort into trying to get everybody on my side, but... wishing to do their part in support of Anat, eager citizens have offered to journey out into the wilderness to scavenge for food. Venture forth in support, or you are not needed now. No, we want the food. Monotheism or polytheism? Is there one spirit with many faces or a single divine entity? Our mystics wish to know if the truth lies in monotheism or polytheism. We're definitely going to go down the monotheism. Now, basically, I'm trying to end the wars here so I can actually get my attention back on my empire. Because you'll notice, like, it's kind of falling apart. We used to have some really good relationships with our families and, you know, all of these other improvements. But again, we've been focused so much on military matters that you can kind of see how the rest of it's sort of fallen. Now, again, I don't think it's impossible to deal with, but let me just double check here. So we've got, we'll see a reduction in civics. State religion cities will get an additional order, which gives me more reason to convert. Or polytheism can build each shrine in every city. It'll cost us money. Mythology opinion higher. No, we will say there is only one true God. Abi Radesh is your uncle and the governor of Murad. So... let's get him to boost the courage. Marketing opportunities are pretty good. You can make games like Age of Mythologies. Oh, really? Okay, I'm going to have to reorganize the turn a bit. actually have to use my whole force to... Okay. Once more with feeling. So we'll do another forced march, but that's going to cut us off from some better opportunities. So again, I definitely want to make sure that we keep the pressure up on Katna. There is going to be a return of one of these archer units, so I got to be a little careful about the damage that we wind up taking, but... Okay, I think that's it for military units for now. So I still want to keep this archer unit around here. Like, eventually I'll have kind of defense forces, but for the time being, I'll settle. There is a slight temptation to move. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to move my scout up like this. They'll just give me a bit of a forewarning if there's trouble with a future archer. Okay, now it may not be a bad idea for my ambassador to try and see if we can try and make nice with some of our neighbors. Yeah, pretty much everybody's stronger than me right now, so I gotta be nice. Okay, you know what? We're still gonna work with our workers. Is it the fact that I've got units in their territory that's making them mad? Some of these are really neat, right? So you can see, like, my cognomen, the keystone is greater than mine. So that actually, like, the fact that you are too successful actually causes them to be upset with you. I think that's a really neat little touch. Okay, again, we gotta figure out what to do with the last of our turns. Absolutely build nets. Nets are ridiculously good in this game. And again, I probably should have idiot-proofed the turn. As you can see, as I'm starting to actually make some progress, I'm getting really nervous as far as saving everything, but... So it's not a horrible strategy that they employed there, right? That's going to pull one of the ships off of the... one of the units out of the area, but... Damkidam the Younger has... my mother has died. General Gemeti the Scientist has died in the field. Today we grieve the death of Gemeti the Scientist, a member of the Babylonian court. Her spirit will be venerated and her deeds will be remembered. The nation mourns. In response to our gracious support of Carthage during its struggles, King Osmalek the Learned of Carthage has extended an invitation. He would be honored if you would visit the royal palace and speak before the gathered Carthaginian court, a high honor. During your visit, the heir to Carthage's throne, Prince Carthalo of Carthage, offers to act as your escort. This may be a good chance to win over the next generation of Carthaginian leadership, but it would mean ignoring the current ruler. So I can stay close to my host. I wish to know... Okay, so he's 19. Osmalek is 46, so we're about the same age. I will definitely focus on the current generation. A delegation from Rome arrives with a marriage proposal for your son, Prince Hammurabi. So this is the ruler who will inherit the kingdom. So Domitia the Romantic is the best option, so a little bit of a reduction in courage. Or Vipsania of Salona. Both are 26. So I'm not happy about the reduction in courage, but I do think the wisdom and charisma kind of balances it out. And they're romantic, so. General Jamedi, the scientist of the War Elephant, has died in the field. Let's see if we can... Don't have a lot of options here. Oh, but we do have... Oh, we've got 2 heroes. That is going to come in handy. Okay, I'm not quite sure what I thought I was going to accomplish there. Ah. Okay, now we need to redo this whole turn. I really want to start saving up my my training, so unfortunately we won't be able to rush them into place. Slowly but surely we're taking Katna, but again they're always just getting a little extra damage on us. A marriage offer. Oh, didn't we already deal with this? Right, we're on attack cooldown, so that's not relevant. Again, anything to help us with the food situation. Now, military upgrades are a big deal for me. Although the pasture is slightly better in this case. Again, food focus. What's the story here? It doesn't seem to want me to build wonders. Okay, well I can see a stronghold, so building the last of my little trio of core release. It's so weird to have this many orders because my army's been decimated. I'm gonna have to make some decisions here. I think I will do the recommendation of the stronghold, but I'm not sure it's the best choice, to be honest. Like a hamlet would have been a good choice here because of the adjacency effects. Okay, I think I've said that my default is to build walls when I don't have other options available. Oh, but I can build an Akkadian archer. That's a pretty big deal. So yes. Even though it's going to take forever. Okay, I think they ran with those archers to try and preserve it. It might be something that I want to hunt down. Christianity has established the legalism theology. Critics decry the court's silence on religious policy. They say that it is past time that we declare our stance, whether we support divine rule or legal code. So shrines will reduce unhappiness at the expense of cash, or legal code, which will reduce our orders but will give us additional civics per law. I actually think I'm going to go for legal code here, because as nice as divine rule is, particularly with my discontent, the money is a big deal. And we're only going to be growing in the number of laws that we have, so the extra civics are actually going to have a pretty nice effect. So reason should be the basis of government. Let's go back to killing people. Okay, I'm sorry, this is corny as hell. I'm genuinely curious where this archer wound up. Ah. Wait, that can't be it, because they're, where the hell did that archer go? Like, there's no possible way that they could have healed their entire... health pool back. Anyway, now that I've committed to being corny... I didn't want to be this aggressive, but it's a chance for us to kill a unit, so... Although again, it is holding back the achievement. Oh Lord. So it's recommending a garrison here, but I don't quite agree. I think if I'm going to build a hamlet, surely one beside the theater makes more sense. Can I even build a hamlet here? Yes, I can. But maybe it's not the most important thing for me to be building right now. Let's start with... So I don't think I can build a bear... Oh, I can. Could I build a barracks here? No. Also, it should be an archery range because this is Carthage City. Well, like in that particular case, I'm genuinely curious as to where that archer went. Like that is definitely going to have consequences later when they come back to do damage to my own units. But like in this case, it's like I don't know what happened to it, but obviously it's nowhere in our range. Might as well get another heal in on this unit. Okay, we should probably start thinking about some ranchers are actually not a bad idea here. Mind you, poet's also good for the culture. Wow, that is a lot of surplus orders. Okay, let's see if we can get some other stuff done then. Okay, Prince Hammurabi. So we don't have the civics for it. We're definitely civics constrained. Yeah, okay, well, that's a lot of wasted orders. That's a shame. What? Where on earth did this thing come from? No, no, I categorically refuse to believe that this is a thing. They killed my elephant from 3 archers. Sorry, 2 archers that came from nowhere. What is this game? Like, I'm sure, like, I get it. There's just clearly something that I'm not getting out of this, and I'm going to take a second to like read what was going on. But like, I really wonder how I'm supposed to plan against some of this stuff. Okay, you are now known as Belisunu the Fountainhead. Patriarch Balakris the Diplomat is now head of Zoroastrianism. Ambassador Nabopolassar, our ambassador, has died in office. And Kurzagalu, the judge, has converted to Judaism. So scholarship was the next one on the list. Now we have added chain drive. Oh, yikes! Yeah, I've definitely bit off more than I can chew. But yeah, in this case, scholarship is the obvious next step. Okay. So what we're gonna do now? Again, like here's the thing, like. I just got to get it out of my system, and then now I need to, now I just need to think about what went wrong. Like, what did I think was true about this game that allowed this to happen? So we're going to take a look and see what, what this unit in particular, which seemed to come out of nowhere. Now, also, one thing I should say is I don't believe I moved my scout into this area as well. So it's actually possible that they just went to the side here. In that case, my only complaint is I really wish that the game did a better job of showing you the animations. Although I suppose in that case, you could say replay the actions over the last turn. So But in this case, so pillage ranged, hidden in friendly or neutral trees. So that's exactly what happened. Now, where these guys came from, I don't know. Maybe they were rushed or something like that. But still, like that's if rushing can do that, that makes me a little cranky. But angry general, great. But as you can see, this is a tough spot for me to be in. There's, it's quite easy for this to run away from me. But I have a ridiculous number of orders. So, oh. Now, I thought we had another archer, but apparently not. Yeah, man, this city's actually pretty much on its way back to full health, so it may be that these units wind up just taking out... kind of like taking out everything gradually, and we don't achieve the goal. If you have researched portcullis technology and you have an available candidate on your court with a tactician, schemer, or scholar archetype, then you may appoint a spy master using the glowing eye icon in the top right of the screen. So I'm not crazy about the extra discontent per city, but that's life. Let's consider now. Governor Amata is very tempting because of the foreign opinion. So much so, actually, that I am willing to give up the governor of Ishuna for this. Okay, let's do our best. News arrives from Greece that Queen Polycratia the Magnificent of Greece is dead. A new ruler, King Aegis the New of Greece, has taken the throne. Their opinion of you is now upset. You successfully exerted your influence upon oligarch Nebuchadnezzar the Younger, but appear weak in the process. And Prince Hammurabi, your son, and Princess Consort Demetia have given birth to a daughter, Duchess Ishtar Gamilat. So fortunately, that means we have... fortunately, that means that we've got the next generation taken care of. News reaches you from abroad that your fellow ruler, Queen Polycratia the Magnificent of Greece, is dead, killed in a bitter struggle for succession. King Aegis the New of Greece has ascended to rule Greece. He was immediately proclaimed king by the nobles and generals upon Polycratia's death. With the throne secure, Aegis is ready to lead the people of Greece. So he doesn't care that much for me. I suspect once this guy dies, the successor will be quite weak. You can use your spy master to conduct secret missions. Just select the portrait of your spy master in the top right, and you will see their available actions in the panel on the left-hand side of the screen. A spy master can execute missions like infiltrate nations, steal research, assassinate, and more. I will use my spy master for secret missions. Okay, so as always, we want to focus on military matters first. And yeah, Katna is now at full strength, and this stupid unit is is running it. Oh my god! I'm sorry, that's one too many kicks in the balls. I know that is a thing that can happen. I'm just not in the mood to deal with. I've already had my forces just decimated by stuff that's really hard to train against. So one thing I may try. Yeah, like this is the thing that's kind of crazy is that the game has communicated that there is a very, very wide power difference between the two of us, which makes me think that it should be easier for me to take a single outpost. And yet, it's really clear that we were on the path to just losing our entire army. So this is why I'm loading back up again. It's like, okay, well, we're in a position of strength right now. Oh, I guess I have to turn over. So, in this case, it's just what do I need to learn? What do I need to do differently for next time? Okay. We're kind of redoing a bunch of decisions from before, so sorry to kind of charge through all of this. Okay, so one thing I'm going to do a little bit differently this time is I'm going to, as much as I can, use like my elephants are going to be dedicated for well, where I can, they're going to be dedicated for taking out cities. I suppose one exception would be here. But again, I want to make sure that my training goes up, so all of that charging comes at a cost. I'll be honest, I don't see a lot of opportunities to avoid what happened to me over the next few turns. Like, the only thing that's different is I want to make sure that more damage is going on to this city, even if it means that we let a few more units run by without, like, while living. Yeah, this stuff really annoys me. Okay, so we're gonna do the same trick as before. Like, actually, let's see if we can say... Hang on. No, 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 no. You don't get to just say, and then a miracle occurs to a serious turn. Like, the reason I've reloaded this is to see what's happening with the Assyrians. Come on. Yeah, man, they're really deliberately avoiding showing what happens with that archer. And that archer doesn't have... that archer doesn't have that hidden trait. So, I mean, I feel stupid doing it because I actually don't think this is a good way to play, but I am going to just go, like, undo the moves until I find out what happened to it. All right, well. I mean, I'll see them when they come and kill all my units next turn. Okay. I can see some value in building a hamlet. I'm just trying to figure out where the best spot is, or I can do that. I think I said I was going to build a range here. Okay. Now, once upon a time, I was going to build a bunch of roads to connect the empire. Maybe now would be a good time for me to do that. Actually, no, sorry. I should definitely be investing in the strongholds while I can. Okay. Definitely building a chariot. I'm happy I can afford one of those. And this may be the wrong one to save, but let's see what happens. I really want those elephants. Yeah, what the hell? Where did that one come from? Okay, is there something about the Assyrians that allow them to have invisible units like that? So again, like, I really need to understand what's going on, because this is meaning the difference between me being able to... Okay, now this I don't get. How am I supposed to know that it's a tactician? Because, like, obviously we know what's happening now. Like, it really is the fact that this thing has got a special ability. Also, why did everybody suddenly heal up? Oh god, I'm so confused right now. Doesn't matter. Like, I think the better option here is to go back to something like 79 or 75. Because, like, so sorry, I'm getting a little crankier at the game than I should. So what? I maybe. Okay. So one of the things I'm sort of failing to register here is that, like, okay, so I can understand, I didn't know at the time, but there are some units that have a leader that will allow them to hide away. So it's like, okay, fair enough. They sort of escaped, and then they came back with a bunch of archer units to kind of, take me out. And that was enough to successfully kill the elephant. It feels a little cheap, and it feels like that's really hard for me to prepare against. But it's like, okay, so in theory, I would be able to do this do the same thing against an enemy if I was clever enough. But then I take a look here, and I'm like, okay, it's got a tactician leader, but where's the tactician? Oh, hang on, I think I know. Yeah, so this comes from the leader, not the... So every freaking unit, this explains so much now. Every one of those units is able to do that because specifically of who the ruler of Assyria is. Oh my God. Anyways, as you can see, I'm kind of miserable trying to do this siege this way. So I am going to roll back to an earlier save. Yeah, well, that's the big thing for me, right? Like, it feels like essentially what those units are able to do is run out, heal up completely, and then in addition to what I'm assuming is rushed production, just kind of roll in and... oh, that's a little too far. Oh, Jesus, is it really between like 79 and 75? Because I really don't want to do this fight again. Yeah, so it's like, I like, it's one of the reasons why I'm playing the way that I am. Like, it's really clear here that it takes me a few times to load and reload. But given the fact that we kind of needed to wipe out all the progress from last week's stream, to suddenly find out that we've actually achieved sort of superiority from what was originally a position, quite a weak position. Oh, Jesus. Is it really 3? But yeah, like, again, it just, I feel at this point kind of rolling back is the way that I'm really going to learn the lessons from burning my hand on the stove. But I think, so it's fair to say that I'm going in a little too recklessly on a lot of things in this game. I can see that as a problem that's leading to some of these issues. But it's really hard to shake the feeling sometimes that this overwhelming force kind of comes out of nowhere and that there's very little you can do about it. Okay, so this is one where the elephant's already dead. Oh God, have they really locked me into... I mean, it's my fault for not organizing my saves better. I'll do them by the times. But yeah, it's one of these things where I think it's... I think where it comes down, it's actually very hard for me to point my finger at a strategy. So like I'm a little confused in terms of what you do with a schemer ruler. Because the fact that they've got forests in their territory that they're sort of using to completely heal heal from. Okay, that I guess is kind of there. But I mean, that's still turn 79. Oh, we'll call it 79A. I think we still lose an elephant off of this. But yeah, so it's actually hard for me to say, like, on paper, anything about this game. It's like, this is unfair or this is the game cheating. I know well enough that this game has a very, like, has a very good AI, like, that it's coming about all of it honestly. But I think just the way that some of the stuff gets presented, particularly just when you see a bunch of stuff kind of come out of nowhere, that does become a little hard to tolerate. I'm going to take a slightly different approach here. We're going to dedicate our archers to taking this unit out. Trying to. It still doesn't deliver. God, it just takes so much to take this guy out. So I'm going to have to dedicate an elephant as well as all those archers. Okay, we're redoing that turn. Ah, Jesus. So I want to put the minimum effort into taking this thing out. So it's clear I'm going to be wasting some orders with a force march. I'm not happy about it, but I'll learn to live with it. Unbelievable. And that's an elite unit that just died off of that. Okay, so this is a chance to learn. What indicated to me that that could have happened? So they're upset with me, fair enough. Herbalist leader, epics, pleased family, splash, ranged, infantry. So the battle is vicious and bloody, even once victory is assured. Gashan Sunu keeps pressing forwards, attacking time and time again. Is this because they're oh, because they're proud? I looked for proud. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I don't know. Like, obviously there's some that balance out the difference as far as, like, really good things that can happen to you, but like at this point I am definitely not assigning any more proud generals. the fact that you can loot, like, keep in mind, this is like my best unit. I don't think there's any way that oh, interesting. So if you switch it around like that, okay. What I'm trying to do though is minimize the number of units that are dedicated to taking this thing out. Okay. We're sort of back on track. But yeah, so now at this point, I gotta try and... oh, hang on. I keep forgetting the stuff that I've done and haven't done, so we'll build nets here. Trapping for food. There's definitely some good farmland here, so... Actually, you know what? Now that I think of it, here's where I sort of feel maybe a little hard done by. I actually took the time to move my scout around to try and deal with some of the stuff that was coming up. And the fact that I spent those points didn't seem to accomplish anything. It felt like, oh god, I forgot to move these things. Alright, that's gonna have consequences, but... It's not gonna be enough. Jesus. Alright, well, we'll see how it goes. I have got my sort of reload as an option. Oh, yes. Okay. I can spend some civics to get training if I really want to run people. I don't want to run people through, though. It's... but yeah, I'm pretty sure we're going to lose... I don't think we'll lose an elephant, but I'm pretty sure we're going to lose another archer unit based on what's going to happen here. Well, this one's probably just going to run away, and... Actually, with that in mind, this is a good reason to force march. So I wouldn't have spent those orders, save for the fact that I suspect that that thing can run away and completely heal, so... Okay, Borsippa... I think I said we were going to default to wall... No, sorry. Borsippa was unique because they could build an Akkadian archer. But yeah, so I think now that I reflect on it a little bit, I think probably where I feel hard done by is the fact that I actually dedicated some effort to moving my scout to a better position, and it didn't actually seem to produce anything other than you know, wasted units. I was no better informed on the attacks that were coming after me. Okay, so I suspect we're still probably going to wind up resetting a few things, but let's see how we do. There's so many units here. Yeah, I need one more. I think that's another dead archer. And I haven't built any of the units that I need, sadly. Okay. Let's go... To be honest, I think we're basically back in the same spot we were when I said that I was going to reset this. Let's see what we can accomplish. That's a lot of orders that are being wasted right now. But most of the stuff we need... most of the stuff, yeah. I'm just gonna turn it over. Interestingly enough, are you kidding me? What's the bloody point? Oh god, I really do feel like a rock between a rock and the hard place here. I think it was autosave 9. Thank you, Irrepressible. So yeah, what I'm trying to find is, like, I'm trying to find where we took out the enemy units. I'm trying to find that spot where we took out the enemy units, because that feels like that was like a milestone that we hit. And I was like, okay, so now we're beginning the siege. And like somewhere along the way, the siege failed. And it's clear that I started saving too late. So what I'm trying to figure out here is, how do I end the siege faster, or how do I otherwise kind of achieve my goals? Like, this is way too late. So I'll try 8, then 7. The other thing that I'm entertaining here is that we obviously made some progress. I'm not going to like delete this playthrough or that, but I'm honestly thinking about moving on to the Carthage scenario here. Because while I'm learning some stuff in terms of how different units operate and things like that, it feels like the last half hour or so has just been really unpleasant to watch. And I apologize. But Yeah, I don't necessarily think that I'm... Okay, actually, this is closer to what I was looking for. So actually, to be honest, we didn't have that strong of an army to begin with. So... So let's see what we can make of this. Now, I don't have that much time left. Okay. I honestly don't have that much time left anyway, but let's see if we can make something happen out of this. Okay, we're still looking for Scholar and Vaulting, so... So Portcullis would be preferable. Okay, my God. Honestly, it seems like the Amorites are going to be mad at me anyway. But no, we're gonna do the same choice as we did before. Okay. Now this one I want to heal up first. So that's going to mean that we lose a bit of progress on the siege, but I'm hoping we'll make that up. And I'm going to skip the forced marches, although it does mean that I'm not going to have as much damage this time around. Okay, so please attack. Now we know that there's an enemy here. That's just gonna have to be... Whoa! Whoa, 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 whoa. We can target the unit? It's a little unclear to me whether or not this is any different from attacking the city or the unit, but I definitely prefer to attack the unit where I can. Just attack. Oh, lack of... Oh, really? Okay, feels like a little more of a compromise than I really want to make, but... Okay, definitely want to heal this unit. Alright, I guess that's my second best. And that... Uruk. So at this point they count as weaker. I mean, so there are definitely some things that work to their advantage that are specifically from the Assyrians. So they do have a higher propensity to crit than others. That elephant's dead. So apparently I just lucked into having that elephant survive before. So, to be honest, I don't actually see... I'm gonna... So what I'm curious about here is whether or not I'd actually be able to... Yeah, so dedicating kind of everything to taking that city, we can get it down to the 3 bars. So yeah, the way I'm feeling about this, so like this is... God, probably delete this one. Maybe keep that fork. But honestly, the way that I'm feeling, I would definitely be interested in seeing where to go with this. In a perfect world, I'd actually kind of want to see how I can work this all around and turn, like, basically I want to see, so if you think about what happened between the last broadcast and this one, we were able to take what looked like kind of a hopeless fight against the Assyrians up here, and we actually managed to knock them back. Now, in doing so, we actually wound up losing Lixus, which of course kept us from getting our 10 strength. But the... overall, I kind of feel like there was a bit of learning, or at least a little bit of development in terms of being able to, use the chariots effectively, acknowledge the fact that we were fighting in open plains. But now, trying to make this siege at Kadna work, the real drawback is that we need to have sort of this sustained focus on this city. At a time when they're able to seemingly generate, 2 or 3 archer units at a time, and it only requires 2 or 3 archer units to be able to completely take out one of the elephants. So, one thing that does sort of work is I do have a herbalist. So I, in principle, would be able to move them back and heal in neutral territory. That might be a way of doing it. Actually, I mean, let's go back to the point where I really started loading a bunch of other things. We'll see whether or not a strategy surrounded around like backing off and healing works. But the way I'm feeling right now, honestly, I'd kind of like to do something that's a bit more about applying the knowledge that I have, that isn't kind of inheriting all the bad decisions that I had before. And with that in mind, I think that maybe I would prefer to do some of the scenarios in the form of the Carthage ones. Just because I kind of feel like the progress on this playthrough has kind of turned into a crawl. And I'm not sure if it's that fun to watch me play this way. I guess for lack of a better term. So we'll cross over again. I think we wind up losing an elephant off of this. So maybe that'll be the one thing I try to do differently. I'm going to have to undo everything. What? Ah, it's the heal action. Okay, I'm curious if Carthage counts. Well, actually, if Carthage would be... Okay. That changes things quite a bit, actually, if we're able to heal up our units like this. So that means we don't have to run everybody back and forth. Okay, that's... Sorry, can you just give me a quick second? Okay. So that's actually I mean, I probably should have learned this earlier. The fact that Roman territory counts as friendly. Because, of course, we were trying to avoid Roman territory, given that they might declare war on us. So, I mean, we still need to see what the next turn brings. Okay. So I think Katna still gets some pretty substantial repairs off of that. I still think we're on the wrong side of the... I think we're still on the wrong side of the kind of the balance of forces. At this point, like I've given up any pretense of being being decent at this game, so in this case I'm just running through seeing the sights. Yeah, so effectively any ranged units that show up at this point are ones that are bought. Okay. We'll just save it in here so I don't have to do the attacks. Being good at the game isn't the point. Are you at least having fun? I mean, I do like learning these kinds of games. Like, it's, I still quite like, Old World, but I definitely feel like this, like, it just definitely, I don't know if it's something about the Assyrians because they, of their specific benefits as a nation, or quite what it is, but it definitely feels like there's a big bag of tricks that are really keeping me from being able to make any kind of meaningful progress, and that does feel like a bit of a drag. The marriage of your heir, Prince Hammurabi, to Princess Consort Domitia brings the nation great joy. How shall we celebrate? A small private affair, which will grant him discipline and so money for us. Invite the most prominent aristocrats. Now that would be particularly helpful to try and mend fences. Or decree feasts throughout the capital. I'd love the extra culture, but in this case, let's try and play the... I can speak for myself, Algrins. But yeah, I think the chat. I mean, I've kind of said the point a few times over, but I think in the context of streaming, well, I mean, you say certainly, but what did you just write? But yeah, like, I think the big thing here is that when I learn a more complicated game, I tend to kind of do so on my own. Like, I have done it on stream before, but normally I'll do like a little bit of scouting work ahead of time, I guess. And given the fact that this, so like, I think probably what I'm feeling the most self-conscious about here is when I think of sort of the legacy of the last few streams. So we started off, we did the Philip of Macedon scenario in Here's the Aegean. And that one I got kind of crushed in at the very end. Which, fair enough, right? Losing is sometimes part of playing a game. So it's like, okay, well, we're gonna try the base game now. That'll give me a chance to maybe experiment with a few things and get a little bit better at other aspects of the game that maybe I'm struggling with. And the first time that I did it, I really blew it with Babylon. So then it's like, okay, well, I really need to focus here then, because like I'm clearly missing out on something. And what's kind of happened now is I feel like I've got another situation where I almost feel kind of hopeless, like where these units kind of keep coming out of nowhere, and they seem to be very well equipped to take out my own units. And the thing that's kind of funny is that, like, Babylon is supposed to have very fearsome archers in this game, which admittedly I haven't built yet. So a little of that is on me. But just kind of given the fact that I feel like I'm not showing the game off that well, does make me feel a bit nervous. Well, yeah, I guess nervous for lack of a better term. Like I do sort of feel like I wish I could try and convey my interest and the enjoyment I get out of this game a little bit better. So I'm going to do the same trick again. What I would really love to do is figure out how to deal with this Only other thing I could think of would be if you moved a military unit in the same space as a... Okay. I mean, it's possible that they're elsewhere, but there's only so many times they can run this experiment, right? Okay, I gotta redo that. Again, I'm just trying to avoid using using the rushes. Okay. I'm sure once we finally take an Assyrian city, it's gonna be a Greek declaration of war, and I'm just gonna rage. All right, so the one thing I want to be thinking about now is like, okay, so eventually this war will be over. What do I want to build myself? And right now I want to set myself up so I can build those really terrifying archer units. Did I already do my cheesy? All right, for these guys, I mean, at some point it would be nice to have some kind of a ranged unit to deal with. Actually, chariot probably wouldn't hurt here. We're certainly short on units that we need, so... So, like, on paper, this city should be ours. In practice, I have a feeling we're about to have a very frustrating turn. Okay, so that time they didn't get taken out. I guess it's because the archers didn't move beside them. So Matriarch Diotima the Bold is now head of Zoroastrianism. That's not my wife, is it? Or, well, my, the next generation's wife. Ambassador, okay, yeah. We'll move on to scholarship now. I'm not quite, well, no, we can choose a new ambassador. Again, we want to keep those foreign relations. Okay, so this is going to be another one of these times I do a cheesy save. So the first thing I want to see is, would it be possible with the forces I have to be able to deliver the city, right? So there's four archer units that are just going to make mincemeat of us. So is this at all possible to work with? Oh, so it didn't turn out that they took out the archer. But for, again... The thing I don't get is why the game suddenly hides certain actions from me. Okay, so on paper this is a failure. But if we just say, you know, I'm ignoring you, you can't kill all of our units all at once. 200 food and 100. Okay, well, I mean, it's expensive, but worth it. If you've researched the portcullis technology and you have an available candidate on your court with a tactician, schemer, or scholar archetype, then you may appoint a spy master using the glowing eye icon. So in this case, different Duke Consort, but I'm happy enough to have them. Okay, there's a Carthaginian elephant that showed up in my territory somewhere. Or at least I paid for one. Where is it? Okay, it's got a bit of a walk ahead of it. Okay, so this was so I could get a better ambassador. Let's see. So not a lot of exciting options here, but at least in this case we don't have an increase to discontent. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Irrepressible. Miss Ariella, how you doing? I've been sucking tonight, I'm afraid. But for those of you who do not know her, Miss Ariella is a lovely Australian streamer. I had the pleasure of meeting her. With a spy master on your council, you can convert a scout into an agent network in a rival city, temporarily consuming the scout in the process. If you move your scout adjacent to the territory of that city, the agent network button will be enabled in the unit panel on the left. An eligible character can then be assigned as a local agent. All right, well, $200 gold is a lot, but no, I don't, as a matter of fact, Ariella. Everything nice that I just said about Ariella, everybody can forget. I feel like I should be working on I should be working with a schemer here. But also they're upset at me, so if they get caught and killed, then it's no big deal. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like I've been less fun to watch today. And one of the things I'm trying right now with the city is I'm trying to ignore the enemy AI to see if I can just barrel through and have that work. But it's been a struggle. I've been learning this game. There's definitely some bad habits that I've developed that I sort of need to overcome. But it's a game that I'm very fond of, but it just has... it's very easy to sort of fall into some traps, and unfortunately I've been very, very trap prone. I'll put down a range here. Again, we're trying to work towards... Do I really have no other workers left? Ooh, should be nice if I could send people on missions. No, not that one. I think I'll actually just end it. Well, so there's one side of me which says it would be nice to influence one of the families. Maybe we make the Amorites happy. Yeah, we'll end the year. Yeah, so an agent, it would be interesting just to see what's going on in terms of these kind of magic units that keep appearing out of nowhere. Okay, so I would like the empanada for myself. But yeah, my guess here is that this isn't going to be enough to take out the city. Gashinasu faces down General Saria the soldier, the sweat slicking down her hair and sticking the fabric under her armor to her skin, not that she notices. Every ounce of her being is focused on her opponent's slightest movement. Suddenly, Saraya lurches towards Gashinsunu, weight shifting from right to left foot as she tries to find an opening. The familiar thud of metal being absorbed by leather lets Gashinsunu know that her armor held, but the weight of the blow knocks... This is a very hard name to say over and over and over again. Gashinsunu off balance, and in the opening, a second blow finds a crack in her armor and pushes through. However, Saria miscalculated. The thrust only gazed Gashinsunu, and now Saria is too close to maneuver. With a swing, Gashinsunu slams her shield into Saria's helmet with as much force as she can muster. Saria falls backwards, helmet severely dented. The duel ends, but the battle continues. Gashinsunu may have won this fight, but the wound still aches in her side. So I'll get them next time for extra courage. A better strategy is needed for wisdom, or rigorous training will avoid future wounds. We'll go for the extra courage. Yeah, so it's basically through the loss of that, elephant, we're just shy of what we needed to take that. But, actually this is ridiculous, but if I force march it, what? I don't get this game. Oh wait, it's because of the units alive. All right. I mean, at this point, this is just silly mode. I'm going to be doing the Carthage mission next time. So at this point, this is just doing whatever I can. Okay, so we don't yet have a stronghold in Babylon. Let's maybe go for... go for a stonecutter. I guess I did say I was going to build those. Mardad. I think I wanted woods for everyone. Oh, sorry, walls for everyone. I'm still going to focus on an arc. Well, no, sorry. The miner will get me extra money. Opus certainly doesn't hurt to have more food. Okay. Let's see what terrible insults await us. Well, oh, they rushed the spearman. That would be why. My God. Like, where do they get the money for all this stuff? I'm not reading any of the events here because this is just seeing whether or not it was even viable to... So no, we're never going to get the city. It wasn't worth trying. Cool. Yeah, I'll be honest. I feel like I've gone as far as I'm going to in this particular playthrough. Now, under one set of circumstances, I would say it's like, okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the scenarios. We're going to learn a little bit more, and then we'll maybe come back to this playthrough. In practice, I don't think that's going to happen. I think the amount of time that I'm going to spend on, the scenarios there'll be a few updates to the game. There's just simply other things for me to do in Old World. So I think we'll just say, actually, I guess I could have hit like the retire button or whatever. Like, there's some things that worked on that. Like, as far as our score was concerned, we were doing quite well. But it's really obvious that I'm running into kind of the same problem that I did with the Philip of Macedon scenario, which is just that I either don't understand the combat well enough to be able to make the most of my units, or that there's something about production that leads me to underestimate exactly what I'm going to be coming up against. Now, the comparison that I would make to this would be I think it's the Battle of Salamis, where the first time I did it, it was just an absolute disaster. Second time I did it, it was very straightforward to finish off. So the reason why I'm kind of ending this particular playthrough here is that between the... so actually, if it's not clear what I'm talking about, so we're doing here the Aegean, and we did Rise of Macedon, and basically you have to finish it within a certain period of time. And essentially, I ran into, once I actually started going up against Athens, I couldn't do it effectively. And I feel it feels very similar in terms of me trying to take on Assyria here. So I think probably there's two things that I can do to try and make. There's two things that I can do to try and make myself a little bit better at the game, which is number one, I'm actually going to kind of cleanse the palate a little bit. We're going to do the Rise of Carthage campaign, especially too because I think that's just going to be a little bit more interesting to watch me do. I'm going to be talking a bit less about sort of what I don't understand about mechanics, and I'm going to be able instead to sort of go through the scenario, talk about some of the things that are coming up. We are going to start with Game 1 Oxide, which I've completed, and then we'll move up to Game 4. And then after that, I'm not sure if I'll go into back into sort of a base game, or if we'll maybe try the Rise of Macedon again. But the aim on this one is going to be something that'll let me talk a little bit more about the history. It's going to be something that maybe I can learn a few lessons in terms of how the game sort of thinks it should be played through doing the scenarios. And then, of course, a nice little test to see whether or not I've learned the lessons necessary from before, like from these earlier runs, will be whether or not I can beat the building a hegemony scenario. And then from that, I sort of feel like I can go and start another base game again. But at this case, I don't know. Like some of you, I don't know if some of you would prefer to see me do some of the Babylonia plays. But in this case here, I just sort of feel like I've really lost out of steam, and it kind of feels like the last, hour or so maybe wasn't as interesting as it could have been. And I just think that there's a lot more that Old World has to offer than hearing me be confused about certain parts of the game. The other thing that I think is going to change over the next couple of weeks will be I may have a little bit more time to be able to like play around and like do some rounds of the game on my own. So like in this particular case here, I could see myself doing this scenario and like a lot of that back and forth and seeing what's going on. Also just kind of running through some fast failures. They're the sort of thing that I'd maybe be willing to do a little bit more for myself, and I'm not entirely sure if it's all that exciting to watch on stream. So the plan for the next couple of weeks, definitely more Old World, but we are going to be doing the Rise of Carthage scenario. So for those of you who are considering picking up Old World, the game is currently on sale, or it should be because of the Steam sale. currently 20% off. That will be till the 2nd of July. Oh, Jesus. I think my processor is starting to go. I've had this happen before. But yeah, game's currently 20% off, so if you get the base game without Heroes of the Aegean, this is the scenario that comes with the game. Heroes of the Aegean comes with the Heroes of the Aegean DLC along with the Hatti, I believe. And Hatti civilization or nation or... But anyways, yeah, that's it. Sorry, I'm scatterbrained. One other thing that I wanted to let people know before I find someone to host, and I'll do that right now. I mean, in fairness, it's this has been one that I like. So I'm currently running a i7 6700K. So that is, you know, once upon a time. So like those of you who maybe are a little bit newer to the stream, my Twitch life has been a series of ups and downs. So as a whole, my concurrent viewership over the last couple of years has generally been less than what it was in previous times. A large part of that is actually due to some changes in terms of the Twitch algorithm, but it not only that, it's also just kind of a story of networks and things like that. But once upon a time, also the introduction of the affiliate program actually wound up reducing a lot of the revenue to the stream. So the reason I mention this is that the PC that I'm playing on right now is actually one that was effectively bought for me from people watching the broadcast and the donations that they were making. There are a couple things that, you know, I threw in for myself here, but I've still been running that same PC. The only thing that's really changed is I've bought I had to get a replacement video card because the old one quite literally died in the middle of a stream, so that wasn't fun. And then I put a little extra RAM into it for some data stuff, but like most games don't actually take advantage of the amount of RAM that I've got on my computer, so that's not a big deal. But yeah, so I mean, an i7 6700K is fine. Like I can run games fine. But what I am starting to notice is that like you'll hear that like crackle and stuff like that. So when I load, basically like loading up a video on Steam does that. Sometimes certain websites. So if you're running like really heavy content, so like if you're playing a game in a browser, that will sometimes cause that, and that will sometimes like cause my headphones to stop working. Every once in a while I get a bit of a blue screen. So I'm just kind of, I'm anticipating that, you know, either it's too old, or it's possible that it's just breaking down. But I've been trying to set aside a little bit of money every month to, you know, to get ready for the replacement. I suppose if I'm lucky, you know, the new Intel processors will come out around the time that I'm ready to replace them. And then in that case, like, you know, I'm trying to prep, you know, I'm going to need a new motherboard, a new processor, and I suspect then we'll be up to DDR5 RAM, so I'll probably need to worry about that as well. So it won't be cheap, but I've been trying to sort of save a little bit every month to prepare for that. But again, like, nobody's going to brag about the processor that I have, but it's, you know, like, it's maybe... I am not destitute. I'm not like unable to do my stuff. So I don't want to cry poverty. I don't want to cry you know, computer, I don't know, insufficiency or whatever. But there are like inconvenient things like that. Whenever I bring up a Steam page, it automatically plays the video, and that kind of thing happens. Anyways, I did want to let you know a couple of things. So overall plan for this week, I believe there's an update for Industries of Titan, which is coming out tomorrow. So Wednesday, we'll be starting a new run of Industries of Titan. That does mean that I wasn't able to make it to the end of the you know, the session we started you know, in the previous patch, but you know, these things happen. I'll try and make a little more progress this time around. After that, On Friday, I have a little bit of a free day. I'm thinking out there, if you, I don't know, if people are interested in seeing that. But what matters to me a little bit more is the Friday following. So not this coming Friday, but the Friday after, July the 15th. It's actually my birthday. And I've decided I will stream for that. But I had a few different ideas of some things that I could do. So here are a few examples that I'm sort of kicking around. I really like Civilization, so I'm happy to play Civ 6, Alpha Centauri. I actually tried a bunch. So I opened up my GOG library and I looked at. Thank you. I did absolutely nothing other than just come out of my mom. So I've done nothing to accomplish it. No worries, Miss Ariella. I don't take attendance. But no, the reason I'm mentioning this is I'd actually kind of like to do something special. So it's like, the idea, give the gift to the channel or whatever. And there's a few things that I can do, and I'd love some feedback on it. So, Civilization is definitely a game I really love, and I'd be happy to play. The person I was going to host is actually not. They're just wrapping up, so just as well that I did this extended goodbye. I have a plan B. Don't worry. But yeah, I was going through my GOG library, and there was a couple of old first-person shooters that I was interested in trying. So I'm thinking of like Quake or the very first Unreal, stuff like that. I don't know if there's any interest in that, but I can maybe try some old games, which either I've played both of them for a bit, but I can't really say I've substantially experienced either ones. The other thing that I was thinking of, and I really don't know if there's any interest, but it's kind of on brand for this, was that I've been thinking about how to do some more reading streams. And I thought one that I'd be kind of interested in is trying some Platonic dialogues. So, the Apology, Symposium, and Phaedrus were the three that I was sort of thinking of. And again, I know for some people they really like hearing the reading stuff. Other people, I don't know if that's, an interest or not, but that was another thing I was thinking I could maybe try and do. So, I mean, the reason I chose the dialogues was they're kind of readable and they might be fun to do. I also don't mind doing something like 1984 again, or something like that. But, I do see some mention of pirates inside here. So, I mean, again, I'm open to suggestions, I guess is what I'm trying to say. If you are interested in seeing one thing over another, or the stuff that I suggested sounds interesting, or, any number of a few possibilities, I wanted to at least mention it well in advance. And whether you want to mention that in a DM or a tweet or, any other way of communicating. I wanted to try and do something special for the broadcast, but I'm not. I don't know. I don't know if I'm a good judge of what's interesting, I guess, for lack of a better term. So yeah, you don't need to answer now. The reason why I wanted to mention this early was so I could. I could get people thinking about this right away. So I don't know if you want to see old games. I'd actually be delighted to try Quake or Unreal or both. It'd be fun to hear you read some Cthulhu stuff or Edgar Allan Poe. That's interesting. Yeah, I mean the challenge is that anytime someone reads horror stuff, it lives in the shadow of Wayne June and his very good readings. But yeah, I'd be willing to give that a shot. I need to take a look. From what I understand, there is some dispute as to the copyright status of Lovecraft's works. So I may need to take a look into those. but Edgar Allan Poe should be open. Anyways, thank you for the suggestions. If you would like to, if you'd like to give others, if you have a brainstorm over the next little while, let me know when it comes up. I will do my best to, sort of, weigh it all and try to do something fun. And failing that, I don't know, you can all just go watch someone else. That's normally what happens if I screw up. But anyways, thank you everybody for watching Old World tonight. I am sorry that I wasn't in like peak form. I'm gonna spend some time educating myself on the game a little bit and seeing if I can see if I can at least kind of sand down some of the sharp corners in terms of what I'm sort of running into. But that's going to be a longer period. That's going to be sort of a longer term project for myself. It's definitely going to be something where if I spend some quality time with the game like every day, I think that will work a bit better. But my main plan will be to try and make sure that I still have Old World in my life. I'm going to be doing the Carthage scenario, and that's going to give me a bunch of history to talk about. I'm going to host Ponce tonight. So Ponce is somebody who I also met in Vancouver alongside Miss Ariella and Melee Mage. He started off as sort of a reasonably well-known League of Legends player. He does a little bit of everything now. He's actually quite good at the Dark Souls style games. But in this case, he is currently playing Smite, which is sort of the third-person MOBA. He says continuing to learn Smite, so I don't know how much he's been playing it before. But Ponce is a really nice guy, very, very relaxed. Actually knows a bunch of fun history, so he's another good connection for that. But I will leave you in his capable hands. I will see all of you Wednesday for more Industries of Titan. Have a great evening. Thanks.